Hey everybody, what is up? Welcome back to Final Trade. We're going to take our 60-day post-release look at Final Fantasy collector box sales data off of TCG Player. In the whole pre-release period and now out 60 days post-release, it sold 8,737 boxes on the platform at a total of $7,392,000 for an average price per box over the whole period of $846. But as we know, these have pushed all the way up into the 1400s. They sat there for a little bit and they've pulled back just slightly since then, now that we're seeing more uptake of Spider-Man collector boxes and a little bit of pre-excitement for the Avatar collector boxes. Very, very, very high prices for a standard expansion collector box. The only thing we could possibly compare this to is the original Lord of the Rings collector box. And as we remember, at release and at 30 days post release, Final Fantasy was beating the Lord of the Rings collector boxes. And we see that it's only opened up that lead in the last 30 days, additionally opened it up over what it was at release. Now, you also remember possibly that the one of one serialized One Ring was found right about here. It was a week or so after release of the Lord of the Rings expansion in the summer of, was it 23? I believe it was 23, yes. And that really, soured the market's desire to keep spending large amounts of money on the Lord of the Rings original collector boxes. And then later on down the line, it's off the end of this horizontal axis, but eventually the special edition would come out. So there was a lot of negative buying pressure on that product by that point. So not quite an exactly clean comparison. And of course, the Final Fantasy boxes have their serialized cards, and people are just very, very excited for this product, and the market is totally different today. The market today for Magic is still very, very strong. We've been in a very good bull market for about 15 months now, 18 months. And in 2023, when the Lord of the Rings boxes came out, well, it was a much different thing. All of us were still a little burnt out and tired of the bear market. Things had started to change, and we were maybe just starting to see those changes happening by the summer of 23. It wasn't until early 24 that it was undeniable. What's really interesting to me is if you look over here at the lower right-hand chart, you see that the number of boxes sold is very comparable between the two all through their life. It's just that difference in price. And even before release, and again, this goes back to the difference in periods, the different markets that these two products released into. The red line of Lord of the Rings, when those collector boxes were hitting close to $500 at release, that was monumental. And these were closer to 800 at release and then spiked up over 1,000 pretty quick. And so it shows you the difference in the attitude of the buyers, the difference when the print runs have been slashed, to the difference when the box engineering has been perfected, and the difference when you have, well, not really a difference. You have another great IP. I always thought Lord of the Rings would be the best, but here we are with Final Fantasy outpacing it by a very, very great amount, nearly 2 to 1 on cumulative spend. I will Actually, this is the 60-day look. So this is the final look at collector boxes that I do. Typically, not much interesting happens with collector boxes after this because so many of them have found their final home. So many of them have been opened up. And yes, the Final Fantasy collector boxes, they will continue to go up slowly as time goes on, as we should expect. If we get into a tremendous bear market, yes, they might have a pullback, but it'd be a little bit shocking to ever see $1,000 on these boxes again. It would take a severe recession in the wider economy, a severe downturn in TCGs, and a severe bear market for Magic to ever see $1,000 on these boxes again. So if you bought them early with me, congratulations. Enjoy it. Thanks to everyone who makes this content possible, especially my very generous supporters on Patreon. Like, comment, share, and subscribe, and join me on Final Trade.